Alright guys, I got a new product here and I'm very excited about this product here. This is the UMX AS3Xtra. Now this plane is a remake. They had a plane out a couple years ago called the UMX Extra 300. And that was one of the planes I used to learn 3D on. It was awesome. It did not come with the AS3X gyro systems, so it was all up to the pilot to control. But it was an awesome plane. I really learned a lot on it. This is their new updated version of it, and it has tons of cool features. Now I got the bind and fly, so I'm going to talk about really quick. I've got a little cheat sheet here just because I want to tell you guys the exact things. It comes with an 8.5 times 23 millimeter brushed motor. You got your receiver, which is your DSMX receiver with the AS3X technology in it. And then you have your 2.3 gram long throw performance servos. Other than that in the box, you really don't get much. You're going to need to supply your own battery. They recommend a 150 milliamp battery. So I've got a couple batteries back here and I'm charging them off my little USB chargers, so that's what that is back there. Those do not come with it. In the box here, looks like we're basically going to get the plane, and that's about it. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out of the box so we can get a better look at it, talk about it some more, and then we're going to take this baby out to fly. Alright guys, so here's the plane out of the box. I'm going to come up here for a second, give you guys a little closer view. It's got carbon fiber reinforcement on a lot of the structures here. We have wing struts here. It's a very light and you would think fragile plane, but my old one I actually had some crashes with, and you know, it held up pretty good because it's not a super fast flyer, so it really held up pretty good. Even though it's such a flimsy looking airframe, it really isn't. So you can see here our servos on the wings, motor up front, all put together and ready to go. But there is some setting up to do, and there is some things you need to know to fly this correctly. There are actually 5 flight modes, and look back at my cheat sheet here. The 5 flight modes are your general standard flight mode, which is going to have a heading hold on the ailerons and then your AS3X on your rudder and elevator. Then there's your standard AS3X mode, which is going to have your AS3X on all of the surfaces, so it's going to give you real precise flight. Then we have a hover assistance mode. In the hover assistance mode, it's actually going to keep itself hovering almost on its own. So you can do things like torque rolls and other things like that. And it's going to basically hold a hover pretty much on its own. I think you control the throttle, but it controls all the other surfaces. So it's basically hovers for you. Now that's kind of cool for beginners and for people that want to learn, but it also takes away from the pilot actually doing it themselves. So some people might not like that in some ways. But I think it's cool that the technology is there that they can do it. So we'll test out those modes. Then we also have 2 more modes, and there is a knife assist mode. And the knife edge assist mode, it's going to hold itself in a knife edge. So you can control the elevator to turn around and stuff, but it's supposed to hold itself in a knife edge flight and kind of do it by by the AS3X technology. So that's kind of cool as well. We'll test that one out. And then we have torque roll assist, which I'm not sure what the difference is between that and hover assist. So we'll have to see what the difference in those 2 modes are and how they make a difference. You get into the different modes with stick movements as you're turning on your plane, but I'm going to have to go ahead and make sure I have my transmitters all set up correctly. They don't have a downloadable DX8 transmitter file yet, so I have to go ahead and get that all set up myself. It shouldn't be too hard. I might make a video in the future about the settings on the DX8 and the DX6i. You can use any transmitter, it says, from the DX4E or up. So that's pretty amazing. You could even use just a DX4E. Overall, I already know about this plane because I honestly have probably, I'd say somewhere around 400 flights on my old UMX Extra 300. I had 3 of them actually, and I put tons of flights through those. I loved them. So that's why I'm really excited about this plane. It's basically the same thing but with some new technology in it. So I'm going to go ahead and get my transmitter. I'm going to be using the DX8 for this plane, and I'm going to go ahead and get it all set up, make sure I have it all set up perfectly, and then we'll go outside, test it out, test out some of the different modes and see what they do. So I'm really excited to get it out there and fly, so let me go ahead and set this up and then we'll see what this can do. Alright guys, this is where it gets a little tricky, but once you understand this part, I'm going to show you guys the setup. It's actually pretty easy. On the DX8, all you have to do is start your new model to bind with, And all you have to do is go to your switch select here, and you're going to want to set them up just like I have them. If you could see them there, I'll zoom in a little bit. You're going to want to set up inhibit on trainer, inhibit on flat, F mode to gear, mix inhibit, gear inhibit, aux 2, aux 2, R trim inhibit, left trim inhibit, and knob aux 3. That doesn't really matter, I never use that anyways. But basically, only thing that matters here is have F mode set to gear. But go ahead and pause the screen and you can set that up just how I have it if you have a DX8. So all I've done is created a new model and set up the switch select screen. That's all I've done. Now how I just called Horizon Hobby and talked to them on the phone, and how they explained it to me now is we have basically 6 different flight modes. Or actually there's 5, but I'm showing you right here that there's 6 different options. So what we're going to have to do here is our mode now, our F mode switch, which is on my transmitter on the upper left right here. You can see we have 0, 1, and 2. Okay, so that corresponds over here to the 0, the 1, and the 2. So when we first take this out to fly, if I'm in 0, I'm going to be flying in general flight, and that's going to be a heading hold on the ailerons, but standard AS3X on the rudder and the elevator. If I want to change to the second mode here, then I would switch my switch to number 2, and they've got a duplicate here. I'm going to be in standard AS3X. So if I switch to 2, I'm going to be in standard AS3X, and if I switch to 3, I'm going to be in hover assist. Now these are basically your 3 flight modes when you first get your plane. You have general flight, AS3X, and hover assist. You can switch between those in flight at any time you want. Hover assist is going to give you a lot of gain on all your controls. It's going to make it real easy to hover. Standard AS3X is the standard flight, and general flight is going to tone down the AS3X a little bit but still have it on the rudder and elevator. So basically, when you bind this, set up your switch, these are your 3 flight modes to begin with: general flight, standard, and hover assist. If you want to change these and you want to switch it up, let's say you want to try the knife edge assist or you want to try the torque roll assist. First let me explain what torque roll assist is, because the guy on the phone explained it. I was like, what's the difference between hover assist and torque roll assist? Hover assist is going to have really high gains, it's going to keep you in a hover. Torque roll assist is also going to keep you in a hover. There's going to be high gains on your elevator and your rudder, but it's going to lessen the gain on your ailerons so that you can control the ailerons better and you can do torque rolls. So that's the difference in those two. So now to how we switch these. If you want to get out of the 3 main modes and you want to try one of these other ones, you actually have to start up your transmitter in the number you want, 0, 1, or 2, and those are corresponding over here to 0, 1, or 2. And when you plug in your battery to your plane, you have to hold your sticks in this position. So let's go ahead and do an example. I'm going to put it into 1, and let's say I want to, instead of having standard AS3X, I want to have knife edge assist. So for me to do that, I'm going to have to hold my sticks, throttle all the way up, and aileron or right stick we're going to put in the upper right corner. So I'd actually have to hold this stick in the upper right corner and now plug the battery into my plane. And that's going to tell the plane on startup that I want my number 1 mode to now switch over from standard AS3X to knife edge. So I'm still going to have hover assist and general flight on number 1 and 3. I mean as number 0 and 2. But when I go to number 1, instead of having standard AS3X, I'm going to have knife edge. If I wanted to switch from hover assist to torque roll assist, I'd have to do the same thing, put this to number 2, and then I'd have to put my stick all the way up and then this one all the way down to the right, and again plug in my plane. And that's going to tell it, program it to go to the next spot. If you ever get lost or you don't fly your plane for a while and you don't know where you are, down here you can reset to all defaults by putting this stick in the center and your throttle to the upper right. So if you want to reset it because you don't know where you're at, you can go ahead and reset it. So it's kind of confusing. I might do a longer video later on more, but I think this will kind of explain it to you guys how it works. So again, when you first bind it, all you have to do is that screen setup I showed you earlier, and your 3 main flight modes that you can switch through in flight: general, standard, and hover assist. So I hope that explained it a little bit. It was a little bit like, how does it work when I first read it, but now that I understand it, it should be real easy. So just wanted to explain that. We're all ready to go now. I'm going to test every mode here. We got 5 modes to test, so let's go out and see how this thing flies. Alright guys, here we are outside. I'm in my F mode 0, which is standard flight mode. Got a little bit of wind, but not too much. And we're going to go ahead and test every flight mode here. So this is going to be the standard first flight mode. Let's go ahead and see what happens. Make sure actually all my control surfaces are moving the correct way. Yes, they are. Got a little wind, as you can see. Definitely have a little wind. But this flies just how it should, just how I remember the old one did. And it's not bad. Pretty much the same feel as the last one. My battery's dying already. I can hear it pulsing, which is weird. I'm going to go ahead and land it. Alright guys, now we're going to try the standard AS3X mode. The last one was general flight mode. This is the standard AS3X mode. I have wind, guys, so just take that into account. Lots of wind. But it's going smoother now, as you can see. I'm getting a pulsing though. My battery's not doing so hot. Alright guys, so it's a little too windy outside for me to test all the flight modes today. I showed you real quick the general mode and the standard AS3X mode. It's too windy for me to do much out there, but hopefully you got a little bit of a hint of what it can do. We're going to try now. We got the hover mode set. We're on F mode 2, and we're just going to see if I can hover this inside. I know with the old one I could, so this one should have even more control. So let's see what happens. Not bad, guys. That's pretty cool. Let me try one more time here. It's seeming to want to overcorrect sometimes. Let me get it up there. Hands off, guys. And I caught it. I hope that displays what this AS3X technology can do. We'll get more flights in the future. We'll try the knife edging. We'll try all that. But that's pretty neat, guys. I'd have to give this plane a thumbs up. I know my outdoor flight didn't look amazing because of all the wind, and I cut it pretty short in the video here. But we'll get more flights. If you guys have any questions about this plane, let me know. AS3Xtra, really darn cool. See you guys later. Happy flying.